Good evening and welcome to News Center Maine at 5:30. I'm Chris Costa. The Canadian border is back open. Vaccinated Americans can now make non-essential trips to our northern neighbor for the first time since the pandemic began. Our Alex Haskell and Hannah Yashivi are live at two of Maine's border crossings in Aroostook County. Let's start with Alex. Alex, you've been at the crossing in Holton since late last night when the border first opened. What are you seeing?
Hey Chris, well, traffic waiting to cross over into Canada has really slowed down compared to this morning. We actually have a pair of binoculars here and I've been checking out the line behind us. Right now there's about 4 or 5 cars waiting to cross over into the country. And for anyone interested in visiting Canada, there's a couple of things that you need to bring with you. First, proof of vaccination. So bring your vaccine card. That's really key here. The Canadian government is accepting proof of the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Second, you'll need a negative COVID-19 test taken within 72 hours before your arrival in Canada, and yes, even if you're vaccinated. Then you'll need to submit this information through the Arrive Can app before your arrival. Now, I caught up with some folks who have done all of this. Michelle Rogers came up here to Holton from Somerset, Massachusetts. I spoke with her just before she crossed over into Canada.
We are headed to Prince Edward Island to see family, specifically my mom, whom I have not seen since Christmas of 2019.
Okay, and how are you feeling about that?
Very excited, very excited, very happy, excited, sad that it's been this long, but we're very excited to go.
Line she had to wait in to cross over into Canada from Calais. I spoke with her once she made it safely to her cottage in Canada.
The line was all the way across the bridge into the U.S. side of the border and was backing up ever more behind me as well. It took me 3.5 hours to get across. So it took me 3.5 hours to get about 3/4 of a mile. I mean, I haven't been to this cottage since November of 2019 when I locked it up for the winter. So you bet it was worth it.
Great to see that Joyce finally made it to Canada. Not only did she bring that proof of vaccination, but she packed those patients as well. Now, News Center Maine's Hannah Yashivi is about an hour and a half north of me in Van Buren. What's the scene up there, Hannah?
Hey Alex, here at the Van Buren Canadian border crossing, things are pretty quiet. Van Buren is a border town that heavily relies on that lost traffic, and many businesses are hanging on by a thread.
It's been very, very difficult. I mean, when you lose 75 to 80% of your customers, you have to make ends meet on 15 to 20% of your income.
The most difficult year for Kevin Parent, keeping the lights on at Parent's Country Store, has been and remains a challenge, but he's making it work.
We closed the freezer down, we changed our hours of operation. Last year, we were closed on Sunday altogether.
Customers like Jana Morrow had to adjust. The border may be open now, but she says requirements to get across are a headache.
My mother lives in Canada. I haven't seen her in almost 2 years. This week we can cross, but we need a PCR test. They won't take antigen tests. It's hard to get a PCR test and it'll cost you a lot of money just for that day.
Today, driving an hour just to get that test. Her mother lives 5 minutes crossing the border.
She's 78 years old, you know, it's really, really tough. You can't help her, you can't, you can't go visit, you can't take her out, you can't do nothing.
So tough, Parent says he would have closed if he knew his business was going to get so bad.
And I had customers coming in and saying, that border's not going to be open till like maybe the end of next year. And I'm like, oh, no. And here we are in August of next year.
What has kept him open? The legacy that he promised to carry on. His parents opened the store 38 years ago, and now he tells me he's just taking it one day at a time. In Van Buren, I'm Hannah Yashivi, News Center Maine. Back to you, Chris.
Hannah, Alex, thank you both. And you can find all of the requirements for crossing the border into Canada on our website and the News Center Maine mobile app.